wonder who awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
Are we near a thing?
I sense an eerie presence here.
Yes. Like creepy crawlies down the spine. Demons.
Here. You do not disappoint. I knew you'd come this way. Room by room you encroach upon this territory, willfully torn from time. No, you do not disappoint. Something much more harmful still. You excruciate beyond all thinkable bearing. You have our thankfulness, our eternal gratitude, the acknowledgement of the void. So why do you fight us? Why do you stand against the promise of oblivion? Relent, Guardians, relent. You did your duty long, long ago. Do not undo what had to be done.
Duty. I wonder what he meant by that.
And I wonder why we had the thanks of those that long for the end of time.
I didn't expect to find the likes of you here. Fallen stars, forgotten angels from on high. How long has it been? An age? An eon? But you've changed quite considerably, I see. Yes, the divine is but a glimmer in the farthest reaches of your gaze. Well, perhaps I can help you. One of your kind ought to be a bit stronger of arm. A bit quicker of wit, after all. And we are all counting on you, sir. My autobiography will hardly serve you. What's far more relevant is what I see in you. Quite crucial, your survival, isn't it? And you do seem such a reasonable sort to boot. There's very little pleasure greater than dealing with a reasonable sort, I find. Yourself redone, of course. Your very parts and pieces reorganized into something simply better. Butcher giving you dirty looks. Beggars spitting at your feet. I can certainly help you with that. But you'll have to offer me something in return. Everything has its price, after all.
You're both here once more. Can you guess what's happened? Surely by now you know the signs. Or perhaps you can simply guess from how utterly giddy I am. Take a look. All your work has not been for naught. This last starstone you discovered has given the Weaver just what she needed to mend another portion of the tapestry. Another tantalizing tidbit of long-lost history awaits us. Another piece of your story is ours to discover. Oh, how very thrilling.
For millennia, the God Box was flanked by the two devoted guardians. But Astarte's playmate, a creature called the Trife, turned her attention to the forbidden box. I may know a way to destroy what's inside, hissed the scheming creature. Together, we can set the Guardians free. Open its lid, Astarte, and we can have a look together. Astarte trusted her friend and assented. She pitied the Guardians and welcomed a chance to free them. Let me help you, she whispered into the ear of one. I know your duty, but you both deserve a chance at freedom. Haven't you suffered enough of this chore? She asked the other. Look, your companion is free already. The Guardians, unaccustomed to such attention, started. She had planted a seed of curiosity within them, rekindled a desire that had, for eons, lain dormant. Slowly, they glanced at one another, and the Trife's trap was sprung.
We were seduced, then. Tricked into neglecting our duty for the briefest of moments.
Tricked, seduced, excuses for failure. It was our duty to guard the box, and we faltered.
Indeed. But perhaps it isn't too late to set right what we've wronged.
Source Hunter, I have heard the tale of Prontua, a mortal who promised the god she would always fetch the water. She was driven mad by the unchanging task far before the god's thirst was quenched. Do you not find it strange that the gods would allow mortals to volunteer for such responsibilities?
Oh, it's the infant year. Every year, or so.
It seems humanity is very free. Free even from the judgment of the gods. Free to find greatness and failure both. There are worse fates, I think.
I salute you, my master. Other elementals lie in wait until with a word you command them to action. Which one of them, pray, has your preference? And that is your final choice?
Yes, it is.
Yes, indeed. That is our final choice.
Thy will be done.
Think I could fly straight.
Good gods, what an infernal
Feels like
heat!
we've landed inside the heart of the sun.
Dearest Guardians, how I rejoice at the sight of your growth, both in power and in prowess. And yet I cannot help but wonder, will it ever be enough? Will you craft yourselves once more into the warriors that you were? Oh, in the end you are like infants still, infants that would perish with a broken wail had they not their mother's milk to suckle. But you always were like children, weren't you? As are we all in the eyes of the gods. And yet they set an impossible task before you, then blamed you when you failed. How foolish even the divines can be, how lacking in compassion.
I do feel like a child, being kept in the dark about so many things.
I guess we'll have to find more Starstone and grow up.
What radiance burns from your being? Enough to scorch even the likes of me, I find. And that is no small feat. Most impressive, yes, most impressive indeed. Why, I am a soldier of fire. And does this landscape not befit me? I have lived here for eons, since the first great peace, when the world as your kind know it was first secured. We were invited here by a great leader, I believe. Yes, a leader. I'm sure it was. The details, they crumble like ash when I try to grasp them in truth. But the radiance of that time has never left me. Victory, blazing victory, adorned our heads like a crown of glorious flames. I'm sure one as radiant as yourself must understand exactly what I mean. What do I know? Ha! Fire magic is me, and I am it. A far better question is, what would you like to know?
Guardians, a moment of your time, if it pleases you. I have been pondering and brooding, deliberating and deducting, and I have come to the conclusion that I may well know who our true enemy is. Now, our foe is the Void, of course, the usurper of time and space. But more dangerous even than the great and all-consuming nothing are those who are bent on helping it here, or bent on helping it on Rivellon. I think he still lives. The one that set it all in motion. The one you've met here in the House of the Guardians. Yes, him. It. The one who does not look quite like he used to. The one that whispered deceit and desire into Astarte's ears. He is friend to the Void, and he seeks to give it dominion once and for all. That is who I think he is. As a writer, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, but even then, please don't be fooled, for he does much more than wag his tongue. What we see here, in what was once your house, is most certainly real, but the demon, Astarte, they are, so I believe, mere manifestations of their true selves. Oh, he dwells somewhere. He must. It is a creature of blood and bloodlust, of lies and stratagems. All this time he has been plotting, of that I assure you. If our enemy has a heart, he is the one that makes it beat. That is my theory.
Demon plot as much as it wants. We won't fall for its tricks.
We shouldn't get overconfident.
Aren't you going to leap
There
through?
is more to that thing than meets the eye.
What wonder awaits you?
Impressive. A smithy and an armory.
Just what the doctor ordered.
How good of you to drop by. She told me you had grown, you know. That simpleton of a girl. She felt the need to inform me of the fact, with that pathetic tinge of pride in her voice. As if I did not know. As if I haven't been watching you. Like a vulture, a dying beast. I could have plucked out those dewy eyes of hers and thrown them into a frying pan like eggs. Have you ever seen Sunny Side Up staring back at you? I have. But enough of this small talk. Yes, I have been watching you, and my amusement has turned into aggravation. Yet still, I yearn for the moment you finally become powerful enough to realize the true depths of your failures. When you do, I'll be there, drawing circles in the skies, watching, waiting, ready to pounce.
We must be getting on his nerves. Excellent.
I'll never look at a fried egg in the same way ever again, though.
There you both are. How jolly. I always do prefer an audience when I give one of my history lessons. My friends, I see you found another starstone. Jolly good of you. But I haven't been exactly idle either, for I think I may have nearly figured out why Source became so terribly tainted. If Astarte is the goddess of the Source, and the Void was contained in her very garden, might it stand to reason that it was in fact the Void who turned Source into such a dark and terrible power? But the tapestry has been rewoven. Time has been restored. I must speculate no more, and instead we must see what new shred of our tale you've uncovered.
With the Guardians distracted, Astarte lifted the lid of the God Box. What she saw was nothingness. Astarte had called forth the Void Dragon, whose sole purpose was to undo all creation. Caught off guard and terrified, the Guardians, sworn protectors, fled. But Astarte stood firm. She grabbed hold of the dragon and hurled it and herself into the reaches of the void. Here she battled the dragon for all eternity. For his deception, the Trife was cast out of the first creation. He fell to Rivellon, a monstrous creature unworthy of the realm of the gods. Since that terrible day, Source has been tainted by the presence of the void. A once beautiful power has become corrupted, and those attempting to wield it often go mad in the process.
Well, aren't you going to leap through? Who knows what wonder awaits you?
We may have been tricked into allowing Astarte to open the God Box, but we fled when faced with the void once more.
Well, aren't you going to leap through? Who knows what wonder awaits you?
Think I could fly straight to
How
the
could we have known what was to come? We were simple sentinels by then, and ones with faith in Astarte to boot.
Well, aren't you going to leap through?
There's a seafaring atmosphere about this place.
And seafaring leads to the exotic, to trading. We may be in for a treat.
Guardians. Oh, Guardians, I need you. Heed my plea in these void-filled hours. The dragon is overpowering me. Our enemies are battering the fragile gates of time. The skies are darkening, and the stars are being extinguished. You have to reach me. Star stones will pave the way. Find them, use them, empower them, and hurry. Please make haste.
Only Starstone can stay the maelstrom now.
Alas, that the damnable stuff is hidden better than a leprechaun's pot of gold.
Welcome, welcome, step right up. Browse these fine goods from far-flung fairy worlds and local slums the same. Take your time, or don't. Time is meaningless after all. Oh, it seems like an eternity ago. Or was it 1,000 years from now? I was a simple market peddler on the cobbled streets of Alaroth. It was Master Six-Sex himself who passed one long, or possibly very short summer by teaching me both the art and science of rift hopping. And I've been trooping to and fro across space and time ever since. Today's special, Interdimensional Trader Confidential, a tell-all to end all. Good day, good customer.
I wonder how much of a spark it takes.
My friends, we come to it at last. All of the missing threads have been rewoven, and the canvas is clear for the first time in eons. The final mystery may at least reveal itself. The final thread of your memory may be restored. Let us watch.
The Guardians had failed. Source was tainted, the void was loosed, and all that stood between Rivellon and annihilation was Astarte herself. Overcome by guilt, they hoped to undo their failure by undoing reality itself. And so, they ripped their threads from the tapestry of time, so becoming unknown to history and unknowing of themselves for all eternity. As their threads fell to Rivellon like shooting stars, they hardened into crystals the people called Starstones.
So the souls within us intentionally tore themselves from the tapestry of time.
And look what happened. They killed themselves in the most thorough manner possible, only to bring more grief through Starstone.
It was a show of weakness indeed. They could have tried to make amends, but no, they just had to obliterate themselves.
A bit drafty in here, isn't it?
3 out of 4 have already been reinstated, and now the last of the Elemental shall rejoin its illustrious masters. Glory be unto them, and glory be unto you.
I think I could fly straight to the void. Oh!
Rocks and forest. This is a plane worthy of an earth elemental, all right?
A kernel of serenity amid endless chaos.
Guardians, I ask of you, what are you doing? What good can come of your misguided actions? I have tried to warn you. I have tried to be your friend by pointing toward the one great truth that is the Void Dragon, and say, relent. For you have failed before, and you shall fail again. Why is it so difficult for you to accept that which is inevitable? All things must pass away, even time itself. Sit ye down, rest, be weary no longer. Acquiesce in the embrace of oblivion, in which there is nothing but the equality and the harmony of non-existence. A blessing awaits beyond the end of time. Accept it, for it is yours to receive.
Friend, that word has truly lost all meaning.
A blessing awaits beyond the end of time. Death's blessing, yes, but no more.
The spirit of Father Nature came to me in a dream last night, and he told me to welcome you. Can't you tell? I'm the universe. You're the universe. We're all the universe. It's a beautiful thing, to be sure. I noticed you were bringing this place in close contact with the spirit of nature, and I thought to myself, that's where I belong. Thanks for putting me up. With utmost pleasure, my friend. The Earth's knowledge is meant to be shared.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Do you have a moment, my friends, to indulge an old imp? I want you to know that I have been giving your history a lot of thought, for any historian worth his salt duly contemplates the events he records and researches. It is my solemn conclusion that you have been treated rather harshly, and that the harshest punishment of all was delivered unto you by your very own hands. For tell me true, what are humans worth, even if they ascend to the status of demigod, if they be void of all doubt, if they question unfailingly their duty? The demon abused a most primal emotion, and because of that, that emotion has been dubbed a weakness. Nay, I say, it is not. Indeed, it will save us yet, be it in the very last nick of time. So, chipper up, eh? Not like the near impending end of all is entirely your fault.
At least Zigzag seems to think we Guardians aren't utter failures.
I don't know if I agree with him. If doubt can so easily lead to manipulation and misfortune, is it not better to forswear it? To obey?
Well, aren't you going to leap through? Who knows what wonder awaits you?
I'm inclined to answer yes. Such feelings clutter the heart and pull veils in front of our eyes. They are a burden that have led us to the very brink of destruction.
Who knows what wonder awaits you?
A chapel, and a truly beautiful one at that.
I have the feeling it has long since been abandoned by the gods, though.
O Guardians in whose hands rests the fate of all, I know he, the usurper, the instigator, has been trying to charm you. Charm you like he once did us both before. Do not listen to him. Do not listen, for every sound he makes is another vocalization of deceit. And what is more, a ruse to mark his weakness. First he seems to mock you, then he seems to menace you, then he seems to mesmerize you. But all the while, what he really does is fear you. His desire has been long in the making. The freedom among the void that is his unfathomable dream. But I have stopped him once, and you can do so again. You have pieced yourselves back together, Guardians. You are greater now, perhaps, than you ever were. The maw of the void is chomping with big black teeth. But there is still time to kill the beast. Rise up, Guardians. Stand up. Come to me at the center of the maelstrom and stand by me.
Our enemies fear us.
And well they should. We'll hit the void in the jaw yet, and put a halt to its ceaseless devouring of creation.
This too must enshrine a most honored soul.
Still, it seems almost lonesome among the gloom here, does it not?
You're home. How long it's been? Centuries? Eons? Since you've come to me in search of salvation. But I have not changed nearly so thoroughly as you have. My offerings remain the same, dear protector. As have my prices. Potions of great and incomparable strength, dear protector, as ever. During the Great War, you found full resistance to the elements quite useful. Perhaps history will repeat itself.
You and Zandalor have always been close, Ahu. Pray tell me, did you know anything about his affair at the King Crab?
Come now. Do you really think he'd let me in on it in advance if he'd been planning an affair with your sister?
How can I tell? Maybe you taught him a thing or two about slinking around in between shadows.
If that were true, Ikara, he wouldn't have been murdered, resurrected, and pursued by the bringer of the apocalypse as a result, now would he?
Ha! True enough. How might I serve our mission? Threads I weave and tales I see, all will I tell. The chapel, yes. Once it was the holiest place in all of the known cosmos, the hall in which the 7 gods themselves would gather and give praise to the beauty of creation, along with the subjects that worshipped them. It was there that they praised you. It was there that you walked beside them like equals, and it was there that you spent your last night in silent vigil before taking up the guard. They are merchants that know no borders. Their tongues are made of such flawless silver they need never turn to weapons to get themselves out of the countless predicaments that arise as they travel across magical realms. Realms as numerous as the stars. Yes, they are merchants that know no life of constancy or even rest, but they care not. With a greed one might mistake for a demons, they long for all that is new, or better yet, unknown. Their trade is their life, for it is their very trade that gives them the life they lead. One of exploration, one of boundless freedom among the boundless rifts. Free are they to do so, as yet.
Straight to the void?
The smithy. Pardon my rather inappropriate outburst of mirth, but smithy is such a common word for what was once called the anvil of creation. In its fires, the blades of gods have been forged, breastplates so impenetrable even the claws of demons would break upon their glistening surfaces. The god box itself was made there, an object so strong it could contain the very void. And it is a place of untold power, this smithy, and it is all yours. Moloch, I know of him, he has a kind soul, in as far as kindness has least to dwell within the confines of a demon's body. He is kind in that he is honest. For that which you give, you will receive something in return with no strings attached, no unpleasant threads for me to weave. Not always was he so, no. He was true to his vicious nature. But during the Great War on Chaos, he, supposedly immortal, found himself on his back, with your sword halfway down his throat. You saw the fear in his eyes, the incomprehensibility of death and defeat, and so you took pity on him. He hasn't forgotten your kindness and became somewhat kind in return. A demon redeemed. So you have. It was to be expected. Once you were sovereigns after all, and all the earth lay at your feet. Tremble, you would shout. And this creature would bring his fists down upon the ground, shaking it so vigorously that the walls of the enemy would crumble. I know of him. The tapestry tells me all it can, and I know he knows you. This aspect of fire served you. In fact, he serves you still. He stood by your side on battlefields large as cities. Together, you overcame foes beyond comprehension. The Son of Frost, how mighty he was, a giant that lived for war. He and the aspect of fire, what enemies they used to be. But you sealed their allegiance and their friendship so that together, you could overcome. Overcome the dark that was spreading. Her story is the story of 1,000 tales. She has traveled the celestial sphere that is Rivellon more extensively than even the historian has. Once upon a time, her favorite words, she was of incalculable importance during the wars against the Void Guards that threatened the creation of the gods. Wherever they hid, she found them. What plans they thought most secretive, she knew them. Teller of Secrets is her title, for in her world there are none.
Every year.
She is a creature of both tenderness and destruction. She is the summer breeze and the thunderstorm both. Once, at your command, she would drive away the rain clouds and usher in the spring. At other times, she would gather them above your enemy and send shattering strokes of lightning down along their shattering spines.
Doom!
Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away from home, is it not? It shall be my pleasure.
Right? All the way up!
How very right you are. These thoughts have been bubbling in my mind like so much drink in a still. But I believe they've finally transformed into something quite potable. From what I can gather, the following stands to reason. The generals were put in charge of the God Box, but they must have faltered. The void must have escaped, or how could it loom upon us once more? Perhaps that faltering could explain why their souls were loosed, and why those souls now reside so contentedly within you. I think he is an ancient being so very old he outstrips the gods in their longevity. I think he used to be one with the void, that he used to roam freely through a universe that knew no creation. Perhaps that is why, I conjecture, he may well regard all that is as an abomination as terrifying as we hold the void to be. Time is a transgression most contemptible in his eyes. Space, mere savagery. We know what he did. He befriended Astarte and fed her curiosity until it became so agitated with the need to know what rested in the God Box that she herself, this creature of unadulterated purity, turned to deception. He longs for a return to a pre-creational state, for the death of the gods, for the nothingness in which he was born. At least, that is my highly educated guess. You were deceived, yes. You fled, yes. But look at you now, Source Hunter. You are returned, nearly at least, to your former glory, your former duty. Tirelessly do you work against the Void's encroachment, and for this we can only be grateful, no matter what the past has held. I can but conclude the Guardians must have felt an overwhelming amount of guilt for their perceived failings. Why else would they scatter their very souls to the wind? We may not have a clear picture as yet of their true involvement in the fall of Astarte, but what we can finally put beyond doubt is how pieces of their very souls, your very souls, are being turned into bloodstone and used by the Immaculates to commit atrocities. They are your enemies, and therefore are they enemies of time. The worst kind of people, those.
What's the word, Source Hunter? You found the spell. Source Hunter, you may well be Rivellon's greatest hero. Now we must find my sister and rejoin our souls. I'm certain this entire matter can be healed.
I wonder